all, this is just a short video that I'm putting together to go over the midterm study guide that I posted last week. It's been there for several days for your review. Here we go. It's right here. It's listed under week 6, which was last week. And if you click on this, you will see that the PDF of the document opens up. I am going to go ahead and just go over this quickly here. And I certainly don't want to waste any of your time, but just wanted to hit some highlights for you as I would if we were in a physical class with one another, just to make sure that I've done my part in encouraging you to pay attention to the details that are listed within study guide for such an important part of your grade. First of all, I do want you, before we do anything else, note that I've pushed the date of the midterm back a little bit. I was looking at the syllabus and thinking about all the things I'm asking you guys to do this weekend or this week, and realized that by making the deadline on Wednesday, and I'm not sure exactly why I did that a few months ago, I was really going to probably be stressing some people out. So instead, I'm going to be posting it by 1 p.m. this Friday, and you will have until midnight on Sunday to take it. So you'll have a lot of flexibility and leeway within there. It will be 50 minutes timed. And so do make sure that when you start the exam that you are ready to take it, and that you're not going to be interrupted, and that you have good internet connection, all those things, because after 50 minutes it will shut down. Now this exam is worth 200 points. It'll be worth 100 points altogether. I will multiply that number by 2. So that's how I get to 200 points, or 20% of your final grade. Now, how I'm going to tally your grade is by looking at your answers. To the 25 multiple choice questions, each will be worth 4 points. So many of these questions will be repeats from the quizzes. So if you've been taking the quizzes, you should be in good shape. You should be already familiar with this. With the format and with the questions themselves. You've already had a chance to reflect on them and get scores on them, so that should help out a lot. You will need to pick the best answer to the question or pick the best example of the term or situation. Now note this, the questions and answers will be randomly shuffled. And I have to do this because since it's an online class, I can't guarantee that 2 of you or more are going to just sit next to each other someplace and take the exam together, sharing answers. So even though there will only be 25 questions, the exam will be drawing from a much larger bank of questions, as well as the answers will be shuffled. So even if you get the same question as somebody else, they might have different choices to choose from, or the order of those choices will be different from yours. And so it's just a ways to encourage that everybody does their own work. Now, I have divided this up into 4 different categories under what to study. Here it says I'll provide a video with study tips. Here we go. So what to study, I've broken it down into our textbook and the particular pages that you should focus on. Also that there will be questions where the examples will be taken from Frankenstein the novel or the audio file that you listened to earlier in the semester, as well as Frankenstein the movie, as well as Frankenstein MD the web series, and let's not forget the Guild. By the time you take the exam, you should have watched seasons 1 and 2. Now, it's starting to concern me with some of you that I'm noticing that you're getting these 3 texts confused. So do make sure you go back and review the differences that we've been discussing all along about Frankenstein the novel, Frankenstein the movie, and Frankenstein MD the transmedia web series. So again, if you've been keeping up with us and reading all those texts, viewing the web series, viewing the movies, paying attention, taking note, taking the quizzes, doing the assignments, paying attention to the feedback that I've been giving to the assignments, whether I actually typed up individual notes for you or you're just referring to the feedback form that is listed here. General feedback for all short writing assignments. You can, download that and see here, this has been out there for weeks. Like if you're getting A-level feedback, if you're in the A's, 90 to 100%, this is the kind of work that I'm seeing from you. B level covers these sorts of issues and strengths. And C level has these sorts of strengths and issues. D level, starting to get some worried about the lack of strengths and potential, that maybe you're just either not understanding the material, need to come see me, or you're not actually putting forth effort into learning the material and need to be challenging yourself more. So do make sure that you're taking advantage of the kinds of feedback that I'm offering to each of you as you study for the midterm exam. Go back and review your assignments. Review this feedback form. If you don't understand what the comments that I'm giving to you individually, come see me during my office hours. These are all things that you need to take advantage of, especially when you're in an online course and we're not meeting in person and I can't maybe, read your face when you're befuddled by something. So review, review, review. Now, hold on just a second here. I've lost. There we go. What we were focusing on. Also, we have the vocabulary and concepts that are listed here that we've been going over. There's only a few new ones that you're going to need to be watching the videos and reading the assignments from this week in order to be ready for them. Those are the few, this chapter in season 2 of the Guild, where you're only going to have my videos and you won't have had any homework assignments before you're confronted with that information on the midterm. So make sure you take that into account as well. And last but not least, don't forget from the beginning of the semester, we had the 7 deadly sins. We also had Fetterman's article on what is the meaning of the message and Haraway's Cyborg Manifesto. All those articles and videos that we've had in your assignments, all those are fair game for the midterm. Also, I have my scary clause down here, my scary warning. I do not give makeup exams for unexcused absences. It's always amazing to me how many cars break down and people suddenly have the flu on a midterm day. And so a long time ago, I implemented this policy, and people's cars fixed themselves and nobody got the flu, which has just been astonishing. So I hate to have this kind of draconian measure, but I also can't write up 6-7 individual exams so that people can finagle their way into getting an extra week of study time. It's just not fair to anyone involved. So this is my policy. If you have documented proof of an excused absence, and excused absence, of course, is if you've been hospitalized, and you have to have proof of being hospitalized, not have gone to see the doctor or your dentist for a voluntary checkup. And you also have to, or you could have documentation that you celebrate a religious holiday, a special religious holiday, or you can have documentation that one of your close family members has passed away, or you get documentation that you were actually representing the university on some sort of trip. So if any of those extreme things come up for you, I'll be more than happy for you to write a 6-page paper on a topic of my choosing that is, of course, related to the class's subject matter in lieu of taking the exam. And that paper will be due by midnight Wednesday, February 28th, if you decide to take that option due to an excused absence. Now do note, and I want to stress this, that my intent in this exam is not to trick you or to create some sort of impossible to pass midterm. So I want you to be confident by reviewing your notes, reviewing the videos as needed, reviewing your homework assignments, reviewing my comments I've given on those, reviewing the readings that you've already accomplished, etc. Additionally, I am offering to hold, if there is interest, 2 study sessions. I emailed you about that this morning, and I've posted a poll here on our Moodle where you can vote for as many as you wish of the sessions. I will pick the top 2 sessions and notify you by noon tomorrow, because or a little bit after noon tomorrow. I'll be teaching then, but the poll closes at noon, and then I will notify you as soon as I can. Let's put it that way. What are the 2 times that I will be offering study sessions in Kimball Library? They're just an hour, so if you, and I have a very packed schedule, I'm only going to be able to show up for those 2 1-hour sessions if there is interest. So if you're interested, go on here, click on the link, and you won't see this. You'll see a chance to, an opportunity to vote. So go through that and vote, and then you will see it be updated here. Okay, so far what we're seeing is the number of responses. I've got one so far of times that we'd like to be the study sessions to be held. So anyway, it's a lot to take in. Feel free to rewatch this video if you missed anything, or stop by my office hours, or post your questions here in the forum. Of course, nobody's posted in here for a while, and I find that unfortunate. In the past, classes have really taken advantage of this as a place where they can share information, even talk to one another. So again, I want to encourage you to do that. Yeah, it's been almost a month. That's ridiculous. You must have more questions than that. Do not be shy. Your grade and your general welfare in the world depends upon you speaking up when you need some help. So I wish you luck, and be sure to take advantage of everything that I've outlined here. Okay?